Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Streamed and Screened, an entertainment podcast about movies and TV from Lee Enterprises. I'm Terry Lipshetz, managing editor of the National Newsroom at Lee, and co-host the program with Bruce Miller, a longtime entertainment reporter. And I am on cloud nine right now because my New York Knicks are NBA champions of the world. And I can't even believe it. This day has come.
Did you think, though, that this was like, it's like being, with the Cubs, where you think, oh, it'll never happen. And then one day
it does. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at because I've never in my lifetime seen the Knicks win a title. The last time they won it, I think the year my parents got married, and I was born 3 years later. So I remember the closest they came. Now they were back in the NBA Finals about 27 years ago, ironically against the Spurs, but no one ever really thought they were going to win it that year. They kind of, they snuck into the playoffs. They were the 8th seed. They ended up getting on a roll. They made it, but they lost to the Spurs, and we were just happy. It's like they shouldn't have been there, but they made it there, so it was great. But it was a few years earlier. It was during that period of time when Michael Jordan had retired, and the Knicks got hot, and they go to the NBA Finals against the Houston Rockets, and it looked like that was going to be they would win it all, and they fell short. But what was most memorable about that series was, I'm watching, I can't remember which game it was of the NBA Finals, but then all of a sudden they had to do the cutaway because O.J. Simpson's in a white Ford Bronco, and Al Collins, I got O.J. in the car, and they're going down the chase on the interstate. So that was, if you remember that was the NBA Finals, and I was just crushed when they lost that.
Well, okay, so let's back up. How do you stay loyal all those years when the team isn't in the hunt?
Oh man, and the Knicks have been terrible. They were so bad. The only I want to say since the year 2000, the only team with there was a period of time where only the Los Angeles Clippers had more losses than the New York Knicks. That's how bad things had gotten. But they rebuilt slowly. I mean, if you're a fan, you're a fan. If you're somebody that hops from one team to another just because things aren't going right, I don't even want to talk to you. You're not even worth my time. Like you're either a true fan or you're not. And
so those celebrities that sit there in the front row,
yes,
are they true fans, or are they? I want to hop on something.
If you want to throw a name at me, I can confirm or deny.
Chalamet, I don't remember him being that.
He's a fan. Yeah, he's like Chalamet's been there. I mean, he's younger too, so I don't know. How many of the lean years he was there, but like Spike Lee,
hit.
He's been a season ticket holder since 1985. He says he spends $300,000. He doesn't even get free tickets. Like a lot of those celebs get free tickets, but Spike pays for his courtside seats. It costs him $300K a year, and he estimates he spent $10 million on tickets in his lifetime.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so he's a fan.
$10 million. How could I spend it on
right?
Tickets?
So he's a fan. Ben Stiller's a fan. John McEnroe, the tennis fan, like he's been there forever. Like you'll see McEnroe at half the games, and he's been there during the dark period. The one that irritated me a little bit with Hank Azaria, he was complaining about Taylor Swift being there. Now I would probably put Taylor Swift a little bit more on the, I don't know if I'd call her true bandwagon, because she's more of a newcomer, but she's lived in this city forever and she's been at Knicks games before. But Hank Azaria was complaining about Taylor Swift, but Hank's getting free tickets. So I really like Hank, pay for your tickets and I might care a little bit, but he's I'll call him a fan. Like he's definitely a fan, but he's not Spike Lee,
Well, and Taylor, she's got football to worry about too. So
right.
She can't just be a sport person.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's what I've been watching a lot of. So it's kind of pulled me out of the routine of watching streaming and other things. However, kind of lucked out, I guess, one of those glass half full situations. So I'm gone almost every night. I'm either umpiring baseball or softball, or I'm coaching softball. But we had a rain out, and the rain out for our high school softball game that my daughter plays on, and I help coach. Um, allowed us to get to disclosure day. So we said, like as soon as the game got rained out, I texted my family. I'm like, hey, disclosure day, right? So we went and we got in super cheap because Tuesdays and Wednesdays are 50% off tickets in the summer. So, and I had a $5 coupon from being an AMC A-lister. So we $15 for the four of us to go. Had the popcorn pass. So I think it cost us $35 all in for the four of us.
You can't get that for one.
Right? So it's we got the 2 buckets of popcorn for $5 and then, overpaid on the drinks. I mean, they got to get you somewhere, but yeah, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it.
Disclosure Day,
Yeah.
where does it rank in the canon of Spielberg films?
Kind of middle of the pack for me. I think it wasn't bad. I think it probably overhyped a little bit. I probably would take Close Encounters over
Oh,
um
you know what? What's funny is he gets a pass, and there are a lot of duds in his resume
yeah,
where you see Minority Report,
right.
AI,
Yeah,
I don't know. And I think what this one was is nobody said, you know what, Stephen, I got to tell you a little something. Times have changed, and it's not like it's 1972. And because what I found really strange is they had to get to this TV station to make this broadcast about disclosing what's going on. And you go, TV station? Couldn't she just text it or something, put it on social media? It would have been a
right.
lot easier, but you wouldn't have had a chase. And there are so much of that lens flare stuff that he likes to do. There were a lot of old callbacks that I don't think were necessary. And I don't know that he's advanced that whole concept as much as he could.
Right. Overall, I thought it was a solid movie. I think, critics on Rotten Tomatoes, it's at like 81%. It's a little bit further ahead on the audience score, which is in the low 70s, I think. Um, I think it was solid. I think it falls in well in his overall arc of storytelling. I don't think it obviously it looks a lot nicer than Close Encounters. I mean, just because
Yeah,
it's a modern movie, but considering what he was able to do in the 70s
right.
with Close Encounters, it that was amazing, right? Um I think it makes you think a little bit, it kind of gets you wondering what would happen because if there is something out there and if aliens have been to this world, right, and have crashed, if it were to be released, and we keep on getting teased with things, right, that the government's going to release something, and
Haven't they
couldn't,
already said, yes, there are aliens? And
yeah,
wasn't release a lot of sheets that said, yep, we got them.
there's been stuff out there where it alludes to the fact that there's a lot of unexplained stuff, but there's no, there isn't that video of a body, right? There is not, they didn't march out an alien in a wheelchair kind of thing. But it does get you thinking a little bit. I do wonder, if there was an actual disclosure day, how would the world react, right? It does get you thinking
It would just be another
about
thing
that,
that we talk about because we
right?
have news like that all the time that seems to
Yeah.
come out, and you go, oh, this is a very special report. We better listen to it. And it's like,
Yeah. It would change. I think the world would be profoundly different, though, because it would definitively answer, yes, we're not alone and there's intelligent life.
I
Yeah,
think
I think that's what changes.
we need to have one of the aliens there to be interviewed.
Right.
I don't know who'd do the interview, but there you go. But
Right. Right.
if you have all those kind of sounds that Emily Blunt can make and Josh O'Connor can understand,
Yeah.
that'd be it. It could be good.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
what did you overall think about it?
here's the deal. I am always entertained at a Spielberg movie. No matter how kind of lame it might be in terms of its construction, you still feel like after you've seen it, yeah, that was okay. I don't feel like, oh, what a mistake. Why didn't I stay home? Or he really blew it on this one. you always know that you're gonna get some entertainment value back.
Right.
And I think that's the only assurance we can get. Is he using the toys he has available to him? No. And I think he needs to work on that a bit more if he really wants to. He doesn't have to do a thing. He
Right.
has made his mark and we're fine with him uh in the legend of movies. Is he the greatest director? I don't know. But certainly if he keeps doing shows that are lesser than, you might question it. Now, his last ones, which are kind of memoirs, if you will, the Fablemans,
Right.
um, I think it's a good direction to go in because it's time to remember what brought me to this point. So I think that was a good direction. But then to go back to the well where he kind of made his calling with aliens and things, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I I think I'm with you too in the sense that you're always entertained by a Spielberg movie. It it's kind of like the saying goes, bad pizza is still pizza, right? And it's kind of I think the same way where Spielberg, he's such a good director and he's such a legend in the industry that whatever his worst movie is, I don't know what I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like what would the worst Steven Spielberg movie be? But whatever, yeah, but you know what? So let's say World War of the Worlds, and yeah, it wasn't a great movie, but let's say that is his worst movie, right? It's still better than what
Right.
most directors would do, right? So, if somebody else did that movie frame for frame exactly how he did it, you might be going like, man, that was so and so's greatest movie ever, right?
Your kids would not say, I wish we had gone to Masters of the Universe. They
Right.
just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Disclosure Day, Masters of the Universe. Which you like to go to? Disclosure Day.
Right. Right. Yeah. So here's another interesting question along the lines here. So this has been one of the movies that's been hyped up for the summer big time, right? So we sort of to a degree with Mandalorian, but I think a lot of people thought Mandalorian and Grogu would kind of fall flat and it did.
It
But a
did.
lot of people were talking about Disclosure Day as being the big thing, one of the biggest movies of the summer. Is it going to be, is this going to stand up?
No, because we've got Toy Story this week, and
Right.
Toy Story, I know it's gonna shoot everything out of the water
Uh-huh.
because that is a guaranteed bet. You have parents who wanna take their kids to something or feel they have to, um, so it's gonna get an audience no matter what. There's a built-in love for those characters. What are they up to now? Did one die?
Uh-huh.
It's all that kind of stuff that you care about. And since it's bringing in technology, um, it's Lily Pad, which is an iPad for lack for a better term.
Yeah.
Um, it's a neat little tale. So I think Toy Story 5 is going to be much bigger this week than Disclosure Day was last week.
Okay. So Disclosure Day, as of right now, according to box office reports, is the 23rd biggest movie worldwide in 2026. So $100 million. What's that?
That's in 1 week.
Right. So it crossed 100 million worldwide in a week. Just to kind of give you a sense of where other things, Star Wars Mandalorian and Grogu is seventh, even though it's considered a failure, right? So that's made 316 million worldwide, including 166 million domestic. So that's seventh. Project Hail Mary, which is probably, you know, I haven't seen as many movies as you, but definitely my favorite movie of the year so far is third overall at 681 million for the year, 343, almost 344 domestic.
Is a
And
horror film number one?
Michael is two. And the number one movie this year is Super Mario Galaxy
Okay.
movie.
So there it bears out my theory that if it's a family related film, you're
Yeah,
gonna get an audience.
yeah. We've only had one movie cross a billion, and that's Super Mario worldwide.
And it translates. You
Yeah,
can put that in any country and run a soundtrack underneath it.
right.
It's gonna
Yeah,
work.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see now. Toy Story comes out. well, this weekend for us as we're recording this. For those of you listening, it'll be the past weekend because we always record a week in advance.
We are going to be prognosticators and tell you that it was going to be big, and it was.
Yeah, it'll clearly. I'm very confident it'll cross 100 million domestic, or close to it, probably in the first week. I mean, because that's getting your families out there and it's hyped. So we'll see how far that goes. But yeah, I mean, it's been a quiet for me, at least. It seems like a very quiet start to the summer season. And so yeah, we have Toy Story coming up, and then we have Spider-Man. Yeah, that's not going to do well. Or that's my opinion, at least. And then the Odyssey. The Odyssey is
the
really...
Odyssey, I think, is one of those. This is where Christopher Nolan falls into that early, even though he's been around forever, the early Spielberg, where he would experiment with things. And I think the Odyssey could be one of the ones you go, oh God, no, I'm not going to that. Or it could be, you should see what he's done. This is incredible. We've got to see it. Right. So I think that's a hit or miss, and I think that's one that'll be a slow starter.
Yeah. Okay. So what else have you been watching lately?
Well,
or who have you been talking to?
Well, I did talk to people from Toy Story 5. Okay. I found out secrets about it, so be ready. And then I talked to the people behind The Agency. Did you ever watch The Agency?
I have not. No.
Apple.
Okay. No, didn't watch that one.
It's about a spy. But the interesting thing is Jez Butterworth, who is one of the best playwrights you've ever seen. He's written a lot of huge, huge plays, largely starring Mark. He won an Oscar in a Spielberg film. Mark Rylance. This is with Michael Fassbender, and he plays a spy who has to try and get back in the swing of things, but also is worried about other activities.
Okay.
And yet his girlfriend is being held, and his daughter is the kind of the topic of conversation. So he has to worry about these other parts, which brings my theory out that if you're a spy, you should have no relationships. Because if you've got somebody that you're worried about, they're going after that person. They're going to find them. They're going to kidnap them.
Right.
So that's why James Bond has done so well all these years, is because he just hits and runs.
Right. Yeah. He's a one-night stand kind of guy. And then...
Right. And it works for him. And then he doesn't have to worry about, oh my God, my wife is back home and somebody's going to hold her hostage.
Right. Well, and for anyone that does know the James Bond movies, he did get married one time, and she did die.
See what happens? Not a good deal. Not a good deal. No, but this is fascinating. And what I find strange is that Jez Butterworth writes very dense scripts. So his dialogue is very heavy, and Michael Fassbender is not a lot of words guy. He likes to go with facial tics and whatnot. And bringing those two together is fascinating to watch, because one wants to tell you everything and the other one doesn't want to tell you anything. And it's a fascinating series. It starts this week, so it's on now if you're listening to this. And I believe it's 10 episodes, and they did one season. It did really well. And then they thought, should we do another one? They found a way in. Here they are. And I think there'll be a third season too, even though all those people involved could do much more lucrative work on the big screen. For The Agency is what I've been watching.
Okay. Interesting.
And we talked about the bear. I watched all of it, but the one episode. And I have since watched the episode that you told me I should watch, which is the Gary, Indiana one. And I thought it was kind of indulgent.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Exactly. It was completely unnecessary as an episode, other than it does get a little bit into the mental state of the brother who died by suicide prior to the show. So because you can see him going from one extreme to the other, right? He's extreme highs, extreme lows, and just incapable of having a relationship. the interesting thing about it, and there's some theories floating around that there's more ties to that episode. It's less of, it is a standalone episode, but there may be some ties to the final season with it. There is a scene at the very end where uh, uh there's a crash, but there's a storm, right? There's a rain. It's raining outside, and if you've seen the previews for the final season of The Bear,
It's all
there's a
rain.
storm, right? It's
Yeah.
all rain. So there's some theories floating around that there's a connection to some degree with that episode as being a flashback, and it's also tying into the final season. But, of course, we have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, it'd be interesting where it drops, where it fits in. If it is,
Right.
it fits in that. Like I say, I haven't seen the last episode, so it could come between the second to the last and the last episode. They could easily stick that in there, but
Yeah.
we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. I think it's a good season. I am not bad mouthing it at all. I think it holds together and it is a binger. Now, here's a question I have for you.
Sure.
Binge cheating. I've heard
Right.
this about couples will want to binge things together,
Right.
and then one will cheat on the other. Have you done that? Have you cheated?
No, but I've come really close in a few situations. I think the closest I came was because we were preparing to talk about the some shows, and I think with the Testaments, my wife and I couldn't get on the same schedule together for a little bit, and I was super close to just watching the final episode without her, and then just I would pretend and not tell her, and then watch it with her after the fact. But she was able to keep awake long enough one night, and we did get through it. But I can absolutely see it. I mean, there's been times where I've gotten a little bit frustrated because I'm the type of person who will wake up between 5 a.m., 6 a.m.
You could watch something.
I'm going hard the rest of the day. I'm up until 10, 11 o'clock at night. I just need my 5 or 6 hours of sleep and I'm good. She'll get up at 5 a.m., gets passed out on the couch at 8 o'clock at night. Just, she needs like 9 hours of sleep. So
Why do you need to binge together? Couldn't you binge separately?
well, it just gives us something to do together. I mean, and I also have my own shows and she has her own shows. So
Okay.
there's things that I'm watching that she has no interest in. So that's the beauty also of like, we have things that are together and things that are separate.
So it is something to share.
Right. Exactly. So
I think I would be the kind of person who would jump ahead and watch it all by myself and then say, "Oh, you wait till you see this one. It's coming up. Oh, this is bad. You'd hate me." So,
yes, I can absolutely see that.
right?
That is
Yeah,
very
waiting.
much
I'm up to mind. What happens if a rock drops on me and I'm dead
there
tomorrow?
you
Then
go.
I didn't
There
get
you
the
go.
whole series done. That has long been my theory with things like the Lord of the Rings, where you've gotten through
Oh,
the second one, and then you got
yeah.
to wait 5 years for the third one. You go,
Ready.
wait a minute here. I could be dead between the time you didn't finish off the story for me.
I know. That's the problem with these Avatar movies. Like James Cameron might not live through
I gave
the
up. I
completion.
will not watch Avatar because of that. I don't want to have
Yeah.
to try and then go back and remember what it was I knew 5 years earlier. But with me, what else have you been watching?
Nothing else. I mean, it's been the Knicks, it's been Disclosure Day, and I've been getting caught up on a couple of shows here and there, but nothing else of significance. So
Okay, did you know that Jalen was Quinta Brunson's brother? From
is it
Abbott Elementary,
right?
Quinta Brunson, who created it. That's the
Huh.
brother. That's the sister to Jalen Brunson.
Oh, I did not know that. I knew his dad is a coach, but
Yeah, and apparently, yeah, who knew, right? So he
right.
could show up on Abbott Elementary as one of those kind of guest speakers at school.
Yeah. So
But and mom, I believe, was a teacher. So there
okay.
you go. They
Interesting.
have the background. But I thought, how cool is that? I don't remember seeing her at any of the games, but there you go. Have you been
No.
watching the World Cup?
No, it's soccer, so I don't watch it.
I didn't think I would either. And I had this, I interviewed one of the players, and I thought, well, I should go see if he actually does play, or is he sitting on the bench? And he played. And now I might be getting into it because I've talked to a player.
All right. Well, on that note, I think there's been a lot going on
Disclosure.
here.
Yeah.
Disclosure. Full disclosure, we need to wrap this episode. So thank you for listening. And we'll be back again next week with another episode of Streamed and Screened. All right. We are back with a quick addendum to this episode.
This is the
Jalen
worst.
Brunson
Yes.
and Quinta Brunson are not related. I didn't think they were.
Related.
Not related. But you know what happened is
TV.
because Jalen, they won it. The Knicks won it, and Quinta tweeted something out or whatever and said, "Congratulations to my cousin," because they had the same last names. But there's no relationship whatsoever. However, Jalen's dad is Rick Brunson. Rick is a coach with the New York Knicks, and Rick also was a player for the Knicks briefly and was on the team that lost to the Spurs the last time they met in the NBA Finals. So there you go.
Well, you know what that means? Don't believe everything you hear on TV.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks again for listening, and we'll be back again next week with another episode of Streamed and Screened.